I've wanted a router sled for years, dreaming of flat slabs and endless projects. And just as I was about to build one myself, SpeTool reached out to me and they would like me to test their router sled, flattening bit, and the dust collection. I'm going to put it through its paces and let you know how versatile it might be. I decided to up the stakes on this and turn it into a little challenge. Can I make a perfectly smooth and functional benchtop with nothing more than the router sled and a miter saw to cut it to length? I think it's time to think beyond the usual uses of router sleds with just slab flattening, especially one like this. It's got nice, smooth, gliding casters. So let's jump in and see if I can rise to the challenge. I do have a little confession. On this next section, I accidentally turned my microphone off right at the start. So I'm going to channel my inner lip reading skills and see what I think I said. Probably didn't actually say any of it. Let's begin.
Here we have the mysterious box. It's sturdy, it's brown, it's filled with potential, and also packing foam. I slice into this box like a chef carving a holiday turkey, only with slightly less finesse. Ah, yes, a rail, and as you can see, it's exactly the same length no matter how you hold it. Truly groundbreaking. Another rail. They always travel in pairs like socks. Instructions? Who needs those? Oh, wait, it's me. I need those. Alright, moving on. Ah, the rare and elusive box of extra air. Now we've got box 1. It's full of hardware, screws, T-nuts, knobs, hold downs. Moving on to box 2. Oh, there's more hardware. These are just extra bits. I figured that out later. And here we have a mounting plate with casters. Very smooth, very functional. And now another plate with casters. Look at this. It's matched set. Oh look, it's twins. I didn't even bring a gift to the baby shower. Now this is the universal base plate. Not to be confused with a record album, though it does have a certain vinyl aesthetic. And this plate, it's got holes pre-drilled for most common routers. Consider it the VIP lounge for your router. Just BYOR. And here I am pointing outside the garage. Why? Because my neighbor's dog has opinions about router sleds. Here's where the magic happens. A router sled is every woodworker's best friend when it comes to flattening large slabs. It's like having a Zamboni for your wood, smoothing out bumps and bringing your material to a perfect plane. Assembly might look like a time-lapse masterpiece, but in real time, it's just me figuring out which screw goes where while trying not to drop anything heavy on my foot.
Some of the points that I noticed while putting this together is this knob. It's not explained what it does, but it tightens up against the table to hold it firmly against the table. It also stops it from rolling around much. Another thing to point out is don't put the router base plate in until you know which plate you're going to use, because once you put that in and set these in here as well, you're going to have a hard time getting them back out.
My exaggerated arm gestures here, clearly I was explaining the physics of centrifugal force, or just swatting at a fly. Next up, this unassuming white box. Inside, woodworking power at its finest. Now this has some heft. Forget kettlebells, this is the new woodworking workout gear. Behold, a 2-inch flattening bit with a 1/2-inch shank. It's a beast, capable of taking even the wonkiest slab and turning it into a masterpiece. The best part? Replaceable blades, because even a champ like this deserves a fresh start now and then. And once again, I point outside. This time it's because I was excited to see myself with a beard out there, or maybe I'm just keeping the audience on their toes, who knows.
After getting all of it together, I figured out what box 2 is for. It's extra parts. It's good. That way you have an extra knob, a couple of extra screws if you need to. I know I'm still waiting for the dust collector to come in, but I'm getting too excited. I can't keep waiting for it. I want to push forward with this and try it out. I went ahead and mounted the router base to the base plate so that we can check it out and see how this works. So let's get started. So after putting the SpeTool Router Sled to work, I've got some insights that I want to share with you. Think of it as your pre-flight checklist for success. Now, the advice I'm about to give you is especially good for smaller pieces such as this, or if you're not using a dust collection base plate. See, the dust collection base plate attaches differently, which strengthens the whole router sled. Let's break it down so you can hit the ground running, or should I say, sledding? Always use something like these clamps to put on the edge of your workbench, and that will prevent the router sled from sliding off because it'll stop here. Check the depth of your material, because if you don't, you may end up going straight into it, because I started at the low side and this side was thicker. So as I went along, it just dug in. It can cause the depth to be too much for the bit, and especially too much for your router. As you're getting ready to clamp your material down, you press on the corners, and if it has a little bit of a wobble, don't be afraid to use a shim. Shim it up until it no longer has a wobble. That's the only way you're going to get a perfect surface. As you're running the router sled over your material, consider chip load. On CNCs, it's often referred to as speed and feed. There's a lot of good YouTube videos out there that explain it, but in short, if you go too fast, it's going to put too much load on your router. If you go too slow, it can cause the flattening bit to heat up more than it should, dull the blades, and cause burn marks. As you're running the router sled, go both directions before moving the router sled over. If you go one direction, move the router sled over, and then go back the other direction, and your router is only supposed to cut in one direction. Going the other direction is hard on the flattening bit. Hold the router the way it's meant to be held. The base plate does have a little bit of flexibility. It's not a lot, but it can be enough to give inconsistent results. Be the stability support that your router needs for this. Use the stops for each pass. It took me several passes to figure out what works for me, and what works for me might not work for you. But here's what I did, is after a pass, I would leave the far stop and slide it over about 1.5 inches, and then I would tighten down the closer stop. This allowed me to see how far I had moved it. I wish the rails had measurements on them, because that would make this step a lot easier and a lot more consistent. If your material is too thin, like this piece was, then you're going to want to raise it up, and that is why I used the 2x6 to raise mine up some. Be sure to use the hold downs for your material. After screwing these in, I thought that it would be enough weight to hold this down on its own. I didn't want to attach them directly to this top because this is a new tool cart, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. But I should have, because I did find this jumping around a lot and bouncing, which is another way that you can get inconsistent results. Don't forget to slow your router down. The outside radius of a bigger bit, like a flattening bit, is going a lot faster than the smaller bits go. So if you don't slow it down, that's going to be a lot of strain on the bit as well as the router. Bought, not built. This can be a hot topic among woodworkers. I have yet to build a router sled because I'm afraid of inconsistencies with that. Just being off by a little bit can transfer mistakes in your sled to your material. Consider it like a Xerox copy. By having a router sled that has already been fabricated, it really cuts down on the inconsistencies, especially when you have rigid rails like this has. It also has a lot of features that I wouldn't have thought of if I built one. It's really important to have a perfectly flat and parallel surface for the router sled, which is why I chose this instead of my workbench. As you can see with my workbench, it is not perfectly flat or parallel. That gave me the idea that my first project should be a new top for my workbench.
Here's the plan. I'm going to take this stack of 2x4s and cut them to length with the miter saw, setting the length with a clamp because precision is key, so let's get started. Whoa, this one looks like it had a little too much fun last night. Out you go. Down to 5 now, but that's fine. For this project, a few quirks actually make it a great test. You know, building a perfectly flat workbench top is long overdue. I've been dreaming of this moment, and honestly, hoping this crazy plan works out. No pressure though, right? Now to flatten the sides for a nice smooth surface. Since my tool cart isn't wide enough or long enough, I'll have to do a few boards at a time, and one end at a time. Sounds simple enough. Except it's really not. Because when you're using a flattening bit, you have to step it down gradually. There's no way I'd get all these perfectly even, so it's on to Plan B. Plan B involves some trusty 3/4 inch plywood on sawhorses. It's long enough, wide enough, and ready for some creative clamping. I screwed scraps into the plywood to hold these tightly together. Let's call it thinking outside the clamps. From here, it was time for some slow and cautious passes with the router sled. And by slow, I mean too slow. I know I said not to go too slow earlier, but hey, I was cautious, okay? Thankfully, the SpeTool bit is an absolute champ and handled my overcautious approach like a pro. I flipped the boards, made several more passes, and, well, this definitely took longer than I expected. So part of the issue, standard 2x4s are far from perfect, but you probably already knew that. The other issue, you guessed it, I went too slow. Did I mention that already? Alright, moving on. Next, it was time for the glue up. And full disclosure, this might make some woodworkers cringe. My son and I slapped glue across the boards, lined them up, and gave them a much less than perfect clamp job. I mean, it was sloppy. No calls, no fancy techniques, because hey, we've got a router sled to clean this up. And just in time, the dust collection base plate arrived. Let's take a quick look at that. Alright, so remember earlier when I forgot to turn the mic on? Well, apparently I've upped my game. I forgot to turn the camera on this time. It's like a one-man competition to see which piece of equipment I can neglect next. But honestly, you're not missing much. The dust collection base plate is so straightforward to assemble, it barely needs any explanation. So instead of walking you through it, here's a quick time lapse of me putting it together. It's mostly me attaching a few screws and acting like I totally planned to make this look effortless. And with that, the dust collection base plate is locked and loaded, simple, effective, and ready to show us what it can do. Now it's time to put this sled to work. I grabbed a couple of 2x6s and set them up on sawhorses to act as rails for the sled. Why? Because my plywood wasn't wide enough, and hey, we're nothing if not adaptable here. With everything set up and ready to roll, it was time to put the new base plate to the test. This base plate isn't just an upgrade, it's a game changer. Sure, it sucks up a ton of dust like a champ, but the real magic is in the cam locks on the sides. These locks anchor the base plate to the sled, transforming it into a precision machine. It glides like butter, making every pass smoother, easier, and more consistent. Here's the deal. Listen to your router like it's giving you life advice. If it sounds like it's under load, don't freak out. That's its way of saying, I've got this. The key is smooth, steady movements, and whatever you do, don't lean into the sled or router. Let the tools do the work. Smooth moves equal smooth lines. Once the bottom was perfectly flat, flipping it over for the top was a breeze. With one side already even, the rest came together in no time. A few satisfying passes later, and wow, this benchtop is smoother than I could have hoped for. Honestly, it turned out even better than I imagined, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the results. So what all did it take to make this perfectly flat, incredibly smooth benchtop? Just 2 power tools, miter saw and the SpeTool Router Sled. That's it. No jointer, no table saw, no sander, no planer. Just creativity, patience, and a sled that proved it can handle way more than flattening slabs. Sure, I had to get creative since I didn't have a proper table to start with. But now I've got a workbench top that not only supports the sled, but makes it easier to use. If you're like me and have been dreaming about adding a router sled to your workflow, this setup proves you don't need a whole shop full of tools to get professional results.
Thanks for sticking around and watching this build come to life. If you found this helpful, entertaining, or just mildly interesting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures. And if you've got ideas or questions about the router sled, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, keep thinking outside the box and keep making sawdust. Whoa. Let's go ahead and cover that up.